Shalom, all international listeners. This week we are going to enter Parshat Vayeira, this Shabbat. It's a very interesting Parsha. We learn all about hospitality at the start of Parsha. What's going on here, friends? We see at the start of the Parsha, Avraham Avinu has just finished. He's 3 days after the Brit Milah, so he's in extortionate pain. And he's in the Midbar, by the sun, in the middle of the desert. And who else has visited him? None other than God himself. The Shekhinah itself has presided with him and has visited him. However, he's yearning the whole time to do the mitzvah of hospitality, of having guests. And God sends 3 angels appearing in the form of humans to come and visit him. And he runs towards them straight away with alacrity and feeds them, gives them food and everything else. But a question can be posed. He's in divine presence. Why is he neglecting it for man? So the Rabbanim, the Chachamim actually teach us that to have guests, hospitality, is a greater mitzvah even than being in the divine presence, which is very, very interesting at the start of this parasha. And we see that having guests is very, very important. What does, in the Bet HaMikdash, we learn in Parshat Terumah, respectively, the different kelim in the Bet HaMikdash, and one of them was a shulchan. So in the end of Masechet Ta'anit, in the Gemara of Ta'anit, it says, what compensates, now that we haven't got the altar anymore, now that the Bet HaMikdash is destroyed, what can compensate for it? So in modern day, the shulchan, the table itself, is like a mizbeach. This is a shulchan, is a place where you have guests. And, when someone has guests over, it's like a mizbeach, it's like a altar itself. That's what atones for the different various sins. By just having Hachnasat Orchim, by bringing people inside the shulchan, is actually an most incredible mitzvah possible. And that's what Avraham Avinu is teaching us in this week's Parasha, that it's to yearn for guests, to bring them closer to Hashem at the same time, to get them to say Birkat Hamazon, to get into a spiritual discussion with them is at the optimum. That is at the peak. And we very much learn that from Avraham Avinu in this week's Parasha. And that's what we do. Even when the guests come in, they give blessing back to God, because they say the Birkat Hamazon, and they give a blessing none other than the hosts itself, because they have to do the Birkat Oreach at the end of the Birkat Hamazon, especially when having a meal. And that's the power that this mitzvah has. In this week's Parsha, we see the Hachnasat Orchim. And in modern day, we shouldn't feel shy if we invite people over. It might be difficult at times, especially on the Shabbat. But imagine the reward someone gets by having guests over, feeding them, making them sameach, making them happy. It's when you're making someone else happy, it's as if like the Shekhinah is happy also. God himself is happy at the same time. And guys, I want to wish you all an awesome Shabbat, a Shabbat filled with joy, good food, and everything else. And they actually say all the food, there's a spiritual concept saying that any of the food you eat on Shabbat, you actually don't put on weight from it. You can't put on weight. So what are you talking about, one could say? After the chamin, the chulent on Shabbat, everyone feels heavy. But no, spiritually, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, doesn't gain any weight at that stage in time. Guys, I want to wish you all an awesome Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.